A starts the final round with an 8.98 second solve.
Huwag na lang natin i-stop. Basta kapag, hindi, ako magsasabi sa stop natin.
And Maverick finishes with an 8.80 second solve. Ace gets a 9.01 for his second solve. And Maverick gets a 10.96 second solve. And Ace finishes with a 9.76 second solve. And Maverick gets a 8.78 second solve. And Ace finishes with an 8.27 second solve. And Maverick finishes with a 7.60 rotationless solve. And Ace gets a 9.80 in the second solve. And Maverick finishes average with a 9.12 second solve. And Ayana gets an 8.19 second solve for his. And Ethan finishes with a 7.59 second solve. And Ayana gets his 10.56 seconds off. She's Ethan finishes with 9.08. Ayana gets a 7.55 second solve. And Ethan gets a 9.45 second solve. Ayana finishes with 13.58. And Ethan gets a lucky 15.31 second solve. Ayana gets a 10.22 second solve. Ethan gets a 10.26 second solve. And Martin gets an 8.68 second solve for his first solve. And Johnson gets a 10.58 second solve. And Martin gets a 10.54 for his second solve. And Johnson gets a 9.00 for his second solve. And Martin gets a 7.74 second solve. And Johnson finishes with a 7.84 for his third solve. And Martin gets a 7.63 second solve. And Johnson gets an 8.14 second solve. Martin gets a 6.94 and Johnson locks his average with a 15.82 second solve. And Kai-Lun Cheng gets a 6.82 second solve. And DongSoo Park gets a 7.96 second solve. And Kai-Lun Cheng gets a 9.20 second solve. And DongSoo Park finishes with an 8.02 second solve. And Kai-Lun Cheng gets an 8.13 slow and steady solve. And DongSoo Park gets a 6.68 second solve. Okay, Kai-Lun Cheng gets a 7.96 plus 2 second solve, so that's a 9.96. And DongSoo gets an 11.04. And Kai-Lun Cheng gets an 8.16 second solve. And DongSoo Park locks his average with a 7.99 second solve. 6.50 second solve. Ay, Crimson pala. Sorry. And Neo, that's a 6.01 second solve. Crimson with a 7.51 second solve. And Neo gets a 5.22 second solve. Crimson gets a 7.84 second solve. And Neo gets a 6.95 second solve. And Crimson gets an 8.42 second solve. And Neo gets an 8.35 second solve. And Crimson gets an 8.32 second solve. And Neo gets a 7.26 second solve. And Seung gets a 6.32 second solve. And Nahm gets a 6.74 second solve. And Sean gets a 7.66 second solve. Nahm gets a 5.66 second solve. And Sean gets a 6.27 second solve. And Nahm gets a 5.12 second solve. And Sean gets a 6.70 second solve. Nahm gets a 7.01 second solve. And Sean gets a 5.90 second solve. And Nahm gets a 6.34 second solve. And Brenton starts his average with a 6.08 second solve. Leo gets an 11.93 second solve. And Brenton gets a 6.40 second solve. And Leo gets a 7.16 second solve. And Brenton gets a 6.03 second solve. Leo gets a 5.60 second solve. And Brenton gets a 7.93 second solve. And Leo gets a 5.96 second solve. Brenton gets a 6.03 second solve. Leo gets a 6.20 plus 2, that's an 8.20 second solve. And Toby gets a 6.27 for his first solve. And Yiheng gets a 4.61 for his first solve. Gets a 5.49 for his second solve. Yiheng gets a 5.06 for his second solve. So that's a 6.80 plus 2. Toby gets an 8.80 second solve. Yiheng gets a 4.33 second solve. And Toby gets a 7.931 second solve. And Yiheng gets a 5.96 second solve. And Toby gets a 7.38 second solve. And Yiheng gets a 5.45 second solve.